Hey folks, Drunken Homemaker here. Today I wanted to do a short video on how to propagate pothos. Now, pothos is one of my favorite lower light plants. I think it's a great beginner plant for a lot of folks if you're just trying to get into plants, and if you want to deal with one that's very low maintenance, this is your girl. It's a very low light plant. However, I will mention that some of these more marbled variegated types need a little bit more light than some of the darker green foliaged ones. So just be aware of that if you do want to have ones like the Queen Marble and other varieties that are a little more variegated, you are going to need a little more light. However, they're really easy care plants. They need very little water, they need very little light, and they're just kind of happy with a little bit of neglect. So they're a great beginner plant. I wanted to talk about propagating today because, as most plant lovers know, once you have a plant that you really love, you want to have more of it. So this is a great way to sort of make more of what you've already got and also share the love. So let's talk about what you're going to need if you are propagating plants. You're going to need some snippers. I got these off of Amazon. They are smaller for houseplants. I like the size of them. I like the way that they feel in my hands. I will link them below if you're interested. It is important to disinfect your snippers before you work and then after you work, especially if you're going to be propagating multiple plants. So I have some alcohol and a little cotton swab to disinfect my snippers. Finally, when you are propagating plants, you want to make sure that you're introducing the plants into water if that's how they are propagated. I have a little mason jar filled with water ready to go so that as soon as I make the cuts, I can put them in here. So today we're going to be propagating this pothos, which I actually put out on my front porch at the beginning of the summer. And when I did that, I kind of shocked the plant because I took it from being an indoor plant to being a full sun plant, which it is not. So a lot of the stems scorched, a lot of the leaves fell off. So I'm going to be rehabbing this plant today and just propagating the stuff that makes sense to propagate, but also just cutting it back. And I think a lot of times when you have a plant like this that has a lot of stems that are empty, I think people are really afraid to hack back their plants, and you really shouldn't be, because it's good for the plant. You're telling the plant to create more leaves. You're telling the plant to create more growth at the base. So this is going to be a great example of how to propagate a plant, but also how to cut back a plant that is not doing what you want it to do, which is growing nice and full and is, has stems full of leaves, things like that. So we're just going to show you how to do that today. All right, so we're going to start propagating this plant, and the first thing that we're going to start with is disinfecting the snippers. Now, I've been working with these snippers a lot. They're kind of gross right now, so this is actually perfect timing. Okay, so now that we're done disinfecting the snippers, we're going to see how we're going to attack this. Now, on this plant, there's one very healthy stem. There's some scorch on some of the leaves, but I'm going to go ahead and leave this stem because for the most part, it's really healthy and it looks really good. However, we have a lot of stems, 1, 2, 3 of the stems on this plant that have no leaves for like a 1.5 feet, and then they have all these leaves at the bottom or some leaves at the bottom. So what I'm going to show you is there's a couple of ways on how to tackle this. This is the way that I prefer to do it. So let's talk about a stem like this. So we've got really nice growth at the base of this particular stem. You can see. So what I'm going to do is, just to make it easier, I'm going to cut it off right where the leaves start, like this. Okay. And this is something that I can go in one of two directions with. So what I can do is I can cut each individual leaf where there's a leaf node. So just to show you, this is what a leaf node looks like. This is where the roots would develop, and the leaf needs that in order to grow. So sometimes people just try to propagate using the leaves, and that's not effective. That won't work. you do need one of these nodes to have a better success rate with that. So like I mentioned, we can go one of two ways. We can cut each individual leaf with one leaf node. So this is something that I found out not too long ago, because I think what we see a lot of is folks cutting off just one piece like this and then rooting the end with all these leaves. And that's certainly something that you can do, and that's something that I do encourage you to do, because I think it gives you a better plant, like a better looking plant at the end, to have a mixture of both. But if you just have one, I mean, think about this in a container just like this, that's kind of underwhelming, right? It's not really impressive looking. So I think a good idea is to do a mixture of the two methods that I will be showing you. So right here, I'm gonna be cutting the end here. You could leave a little bit of a stem, but just realize that this is not where the roots are gonna be developing, so we don't need all of that. I'm gonna cut it right there. And then right here, right on the other side of the leaf node, I'm gonna cut it again. And that's gonna leave us with one leaf with a leaf node. And I'm gonna stick that right in the water. Snip off a leaf node with one leaf and stick it in the water. So for this particular cutting, I'm gonna do that for every single leaf on this stem. So I will say this, sometimes I like to leave a little extra stem, and the reason for that is because sometimes it helps me anchor it a little bit better in the cup. So I can stick it under other leaves and have it stay submerged. So it does help a little bit with that. With the ends of the plant, I like to just kind of leave these guys as is and stick them in the water just like this, because I find that you end up with a much fuller plant. And there are some leaf nodes here, but they're smaller leaf nodes, so I'd rather just put this whole thing in the water. We cut off that stem, but what I'm actually gonna do is make sure that I'm actually cutting it from the base of the plant here. So making sure that I'm cutting this stem that has nothing on it. And then I run into another really nice set of healthy leaves. And this is what I mean by you need to have a good mixture. So here I have a really healthy set of leaves that I could use in my new planter. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually not gonna cut it right at the leaf, right where the leaf meets the node here. I'm actually gonna cut it one leaf node down, possibly two leaf nodes down. And remember, these are the nodes. So for this plant, I'm gonna cut it 1 to 2 leaf nodes down over here. Like this. So as you can see, I left 2 leaf nodes here. And that was purposeful because I'm gonna stick it in the water just like this. So this guy is going in as is. Ugh. This is the tough part, keeping them all submerged. Sometimes they don't want to cooperate. So we're almost done with this plant. It's got this nice long stem that makes it look really nice, and then it's got another one that's emerging from the base of the plant. And we just finished cutting at the base, so there will probably be another thing emerging from that. So let's just twirl it around a little more. When you're propagating plants, get rid of any leaf that looks like it's on its way out. This is not gonna help the situation. It's gonna take energy away from the plant rooting. So just dispose of this stuff. Okay, so once more, I'm gonna cut this at the base right before this node over here. So here's the leaf. I'm gonna cut one down, so there's no leaf. And so that stem that I cut off, we didn't leave anything salvageable. We left just stem. And that's the thing, is like if you have a leaf, try to propagate it, even if it's a lone leaf. Try to propagate it because it'll help your new plant look fuller. But anything like this, you can throw in the trash. This one has got a very long stem and has got some leaves at the base that look good. So I'm gonna cut that off and stick that in here, one node below the leaves. So I end up with this piece. So that's going in the water. And then this one, let's see how I'm gonna tackle this one. So first I'm gonna get rid of the stem that has nothing on it, because we don't need that. I think I'm just gonna cut at the base here. Actually, I might take it a little further back. Just like that. So I have two options here. I could propagate these or I could let them go. They don't look great. So most times I would say don't even bother with something like this. I would say just let it go, maybe throw it out. But if we get these to root, anything that comes additionally to it will probably be healthy. So it's totally up to you. What you can do is just, again, cut each leaf, make sure there's a node, don't get your finger off, and then you've got two additional leaves. So this is really bothering me because we have a stem here that's kind of empty and then it's got some growth. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually cut it off at the base because I do see a new leaf popping up out there. So the plant is already starting to make new leaves, and I kind of want the energy to go to that instead of sustaining something that looks like that. So I'm actually gonna cut it off right here. So this, I've just cut this stem that I said I wouldn't cut, but you know what, it was really bothering me. I'm gonna go take it a leaf node or two down, and this will probably bounce back. It looks like the leaves that are emerging from it want to be healthy, so I'm gonna give it a fighting chance. And then I'm just gonna stick it in the water. And then this guy, the leaf doesn't look healthy, but like I said, the root system can still be super healthy even if the leaf isn't looking 100%. And then, you know, it'll probably get camouflaged by all the other leaves around it. So this is what we end up with. And as you can see, this is a nice little mix of longer hanging stems and then the base stems that are smaller that just have a leaf node attached to them. And I think that's what you want to see when you're starting a new plant, because it just looks nicer. It looks nicer to have some stuff sort of hanging off of the base of the plant, especially with these vining plants, and to have the base look full. I want to show you the before and after, but before I do that, I do want to show you what the cuttings will look like in a few weeks. Now, Pothos is very easygoing, so you can leave this in here for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and it'll be just fine, and it'll look really, really pretty too. I like this. This is something that I just sort of stick amongst my other plants, and no one can see that it's in a mason jar, and it looks really fun and ridiculous. And let me show you what the root system looks like. So this is what it looks like after a few weeks. This is probably after a few months because I haven't done anything with these for a while. I have to plant them up. Maybe I'll do another video on that. But they very happily stay in a mason jar like this as long as you're changing out the water on a weekly, bi-weekly basis. Just making sure that you're putting in nice clean water, which I definitely have to do because I've been very bad. I haven't done that. But this is what they look like when they're ready to be planted up. You can probably plant them up before this, but I have been very, very happy watching them grow in this, and they look great. And this is gonna make such a handsome plant that I can either give away, I can sell it, I can, you know, add to my collection. I just love plant propagation, and I hope that you do too. So that was my video on how to propagate pothos. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have a pothos and what kind, or if you want to get one after watching this video. I want to make sure that I put in a before clip. So this is what the plant looked like before, and this is what it looks like after its little haircut. So this is the new plant that I'm ending up with, and this is what the original plant looks like now, which I'm really digging. I think it looks really nice. I hope this video was helpful, and as always, thank you for coming on this journey with me. I will see you in my next video. Bye.